'Tis the season, no, not the season for Christmas and not the season even for Christmas in July. This is the season for the celebration of gardens here in Garden City, Michigan. It is the 2022 Garden City Garden Club Garden Walk. Hi there, I'm Susie Racklyeft. It is a pleasure to be with you and not only celebrating but truly enjoying the variety of gardens and homes on this 28th annual Garden City Garden Club Garden Walk. The event is co-hosted by the Garden City Historical Society, and we are just awfully excited to share with you some of the best. We've got a variety of things, whether you're thinking butterflies or you're thinking golf in a garden, it's possible, and so much more, dragons, etc. We had the pleasure to talk to some of the homeowners on some of the houses on the walk this year, but we certainly congratulate every single one of them, and we can't wait to get the show started. So get ready for some great stuff here in Garden City's Garden Walk 2022. So happy to be here at the 28th annual Garden City Garden Club Garden Walk. It is 2022 and we are seeing such variety. I just am so excited, particularly in this yard, to look at some of the really cool and creative artwork that has gone into making this a wonderful expression of art. We are at the home of some very creative people, and we have to say that poor Jay Emons here wasn't necessarily quite thinking he was going to be on camera, but we're glad you're here, Jay, and Dawn as well. We know we'll thank her for a lot of the inspiration for this garden. But first of all, congratulations on being on the walk.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here. We did this once before, but the yard's completely different now, so yeah.
So why is it completely different now? How does the evolution of what you're doing, inspiration, what you have, time, how does that impact how you garden?
Well, honestly, with the pandemic, and probably for a lot of people, what am I supposed to do with my time? So we ended up changing a lot of stuff that we didn't like, and just my wife is always coming up with new projects. So she just kind of comes up with ideas, and then I just do what I'm told. So, okay. Yeah.
Oh, you're a good husband. That's the formula. We are thrilled with seeing some of the pops of color, but also the variety of the metal art that you've got incorporated into your yard. Tell us a little bit about how that came about, and how does one get into incorporating those types of things into their experience?
I have to give the credit to my wife. She has a good eye for things like this. She's been collecting antiques since she was a kid. Her mom and aunt do it, and so she's just gathered these pieces over a lifetime, and they end up, as you see, in the garden. So that's basically it.
You make it sound easy, because it is.
Well, yeah. Like I said, she does make it look easy. It's she'll get something and she'll have an idea, and what are you doing with this? And then sure enough, she'll put it somewhere. I'm like, oh, it does look good. So, yeah. And
it makes sense. And I know some gardens go for different approaches, and this one seems to be very relaxed, very casual. And I guess have to say, it doesn't get much more relaxed than having a camper in your landscape for gardening, which is tremendous. So I'm loving the chairs and the old, coolers and water fountains and things. But tell us a little bit about this camper experience. And is anybody in there right now?
No. Nobody's in there. No, it's just right now a lot of yard tools, but it was my daughter's grandparents, my mother-in-law and father-in-law, got this up in Houghton Lake, and they completely redid it. So when she was like 4, she could have, a little play place for herself. It was really nice inside and everything. She had curtains, everything. It was very girly. She's since outgrown it, but we still use it for, just storage and things like that. And sometimes I'll actually go in there and, actually pick it up and make it look nice again. Right now it doesn't. So.
Well, we're going to trust you on that, but what I have to say is it looks really cool on the outside.
Thank
so
you.
Regardless of what you do, and I think storage is a wonderful idea, it really does fit well with what your vibe is here in the yard. So very relaxed, very casual, and we're loving it. So thanks for the inspiration. Let's keep walking, and as we enjoy this home, we'll go this way, Jake. We'll let you lead the way. Again, seeing some walkways, seeing a variety of greenery, as well as some pops of color. So I know that we're mixing some, we'll go up here, we're mixing some annuals with some perennials as well. Is there a ratio? Is there an intention for we're going to buy this much new stuff every year versus we're just going to cultivate what we've already got?
There's usually all new stuff comes in. I mean, we do split things we have. That house that looks a little bad right now, but it needs to be split. And then my wife likes to say it pops the color with some annuals. Really, mostly we like kind of set it and forget it. You know, low maintenance stuff. I mean, we do come out and trim things and stuff, but for the most part, we just try to go for things that aren't fussy. So.
Great. Let's have you turn this way just a little bit, and I just want to talk about. There's something we're going to see in the front yard, and I know they got a shot of it. See a little bit of a tie-in here. That it's a cat. I want to call it a black cat. I'm not sure, but we'll see a very large friend up in the front yard too in just a few minutes, and so we may not make it up there, but the camera sure will. But what's going on? Are we like? Is this an homage to what's to come, the fall season, or just a little bit more fun?
Well, this thing in the front will probably be up all year because my wife will do that. This was a gift from a friend, and so it just goes back here. It's just, again, one thing we collected, and it ends up back here. A lot of my wife's friends are all into the quasi-Halloween stuff, so a lot of like-minded people. So we got that, and yeah, the thing in the front is brand new, and I didn't expect it to be so big. To be honest, I came home and they put it up, and I was like, oh.
Well, it's even bigger with some extra little surprises coming out of the top of its head there too, which is very appropriate for the garden walk. So kudos on that. And I don't want to tell our Garden City postmaster that they might be missing a mailbox, but I'm sure that that's not regulation. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Again, up in Houghton Lake, where my wife's mom lives, just a random antique shop. We saw it. It's priced pretty good. It was heavy, hard to get home, but. Yeah, so we just had to repaint it this year because the stuff does tend to rust, but yeah, there's really nothing in it. It's just for decoration.
For decoration, yeah. I noticed you're letting things sort of go to nature with not like repainting in bright colors, but keeping sort of the, what do they call it, the patina intact, and that really does, again, sort of fit with the vibe of this sort of eclectic but a little bit old school approach to gardening. Yeah. That must work well because it saves on time, but also it just looks so cool and so easy. So thoughts on advice for somebody that's interested in trying to obtain a look like this for their yard?
I mean, honestly, it's just kind of the one person's junk is another person's treasure. If you have an eye for it and you think it can work, try it. I mean, it's trash anyway. If it doesn't, just put it back in the trash. I mean, that's pretty much my wife's philosophy about it. So, yeah. And then sometimes she brings home things I don't necessarily love, but I just keep my mouth shut. So.
Again, we're writing the playbook for what a great relationship. No, I'm teasing, of course, but thank you for your commitment to your relationship, but also to your garden. It's wonderful. We are inspired by this. Again, sometimes old is new again, as witnessed in this beautiful yard. And love the size of the yard, by the way. It just makes it so much. Sort of creativity can flow. And as you said, last couple of years you've changed things up a little bit. Yeah. Do you believe then in just continuing sort of evolving as you go versus the same thing year after year?
Yeah, we tend to get, I guess, bored is a good term. I mean, yeah, we used to have this 60-foot tree here. We had that taken out. I mean, part of that was kind of a safety issue. Well, we were afraid it could become one. But yeah, I mean, we will just sit here and stare, and then all of a sudden we're like, well, let's change this. And so we take a couple weekends and that's what we do.
And we are reaping the benefits of that. Jay, thank you so much, and congratulations to you and Dawn on being in the Garden Walk again, 2022. And we wish you continued success with what you're doing here.
Thanks.
It's wonderful.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you. We've got more on the way on this wonderful 2022 Garden Walk, the 28th annual Garden City Garden Club Garden Walk. More to come. Another beautiful house on Arcola Street belongs to Kim and Jeff Dold, and we want to welcome and say hello and congratulations to Kim, who is here representing this gorgeous, gorgeous property. Kim, congratulations on being in the Garden Walk.
Thank you, and thank you so much for coming by. Yeah.
It is genuinely our pleasure. There is something everywhere my eye can look, and I just absolutely love that. We have to tell a quick story about the snapdragon, though. I just learned this very interesting bit of information, and there really is something for everybody here. But snapdragons they're sort of an old-time favorite, I think, for many people. So
learning, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about them. You've got a lot of beautiful color here, but there's a little secret about snapdragons that you've shared before we started, so we got to get that out.
That I was this old when I found out. We had some ladies come by a little while ago, and they showed me on the snapdragons that if you just take them and, let's see, here we go, just squeeze them like this, it looks like they're talking.
Snapdragon puppets.
I'm 64 years old, and I never knew that before.
The moral of this story is, the lesson is, you can learn something new every garden walk, right?
Yeah. Every day, every garden walk, yes, absolutely.
Well, let's talk about your property, your philosophy. We have a swimming pool behind us that we may just take advantage of before we leave. It's a little humid, but what's wonderful is there's so many people here enjoying this today. But let's walk just a little bit and tell us a little bit about how this came to be. I'm sure it wasn't an overnight sensation, because this looks like you've put so much love and time into it. So tell us about your gardening philosophy.
It's basically, if I see it and I like it, it gets planted somewhere back here. As things are starting to grow, though, a lot of them are, obviously, they're taking up more space. So I'm going to have to cut back a little bit on planting, but that's basically it. If it loves sun, because as you can see, I have a very sunny backyard and front yard. So, yeah, that's basically the philosophy. If I like it, I plant it.
If we could only all adopt that philosophy, it's fantastic. Let's walk a little bit. Clearly you enjoy your property, your garden, your area, which I think is the best kind, that you're not just looking at from afar, but actually sitting in, enjoying being able to take in and relish every day. So as we look at the mulch bed and the rocks, this is something that I don't always see because of the time it takes to create something this lovely. So tell us about why you made the decision of going with the, sort of the separation area with the rocks, and then how often do you do the mulch?
The mulch, unfortunately, the mulch has to be done almost every year. It's got to be at least refreshed. And the rocks, I like the look of the rocks. It's more natural, and I had to have a separation from the flower bed because it was impossible to take care of otherwise. So that's basically it, and we chose the rocks. Like I said, I like the look of it. Although we were at one last night, and the gentleman put shellac on his rocks, so they stay shiny. So I came home and told my husband, I said, I think you need to shellac all of our rocks.
Before tomorrow, right? No.
Not happening.
Yeah, no. That's a good tip, though. I like that. Let's keep walking. And again, I think what's most noticeable here is the variety of things you've got planted, and certainly the colors. So do you have an inspiration annually? Like, for example, this year, is it the year of the yellow or the year of the pink or anything like that? Or is it just, like you said, literally piece by piece?
The front yard, I try to keep the front. The front is done in red, white, and blue every year. The backyard, again, it doesn't matter the color. If I look at it and I like it, it comes home with me. So, yeah.
Great.
Yeah, all the colors are all beautiful.
They sure are, and they work well together. We just walked by an area in your garden bed, and I want to just take a quick step back to make sure that we reference this. Tell us a little bit about the honor, the homage you've got going on here.
I wanted to put something in here. My brother-in-law, Jeff's only brother, passed a few years ago. He was a career Navy. And it was a very sudden thing and very hard. So I thought, well, we'll make just a little area over here, and then every time we walk by it, we think of Greg, and so it's nice. It's nice being able to just make sure he's in our thoughts every day.
Beautiful way to honor him, his memory and his legacy, and as things grow around him, sort of a new life. It's sort of a new feeling of connection.
Look at it, yes.
Let's keep walking. I'm seeing some interesting metal art going on. That seems to be a pretty cool thing this year in terms of collecting things that are new versus collecting things that you find from somebody else. Do you go to garage sales and things like that, maybe the antique stores much, or is it just kind of once in a while?
Well, actually, that's probably one of my favorite things to do. Just go out looking for treasures here and there. A lot of the things back here were either were given to me, most of them actually, and my kids love to buy me stuff for outside. I was telling someone yesterday I actually have a shed half full of things that aren't even out here because it can get to be too much after a while. So, yeah, but I do enjoy looking around for things. Nice. And a lot of stuff like my little windmill here that was, we had a elderly neighbor here next door that that passed a couple of years ago, and she had given me the windmill and my deer out in the front, and you know, so again, it's nice because when I look at them, I think of Carol for a few minutes, and yeah, so those kind of things are nice.
And having the storage of items that you may not be using this time around allows you some flexibility for other years moving forward. Yeah, exactly. Let's keep walking through, and again, we can't avoid the beautiful pool, which is I'm sure not easy to maintain, but it certainly is lovely. Some people have a fountain in their yard. You just went all the way with the pool, and it still sounds like a fountain with the babbling brook there going down the slide. I love it.
Slide on for a little while. And actually, just so anybody knows that wants to do it, the pool it takes up so little of my time. It's ridiculous. It's a saltwater pool, so I don't have to add chemicals to it. The vacuum, you just you hook into the side of the pool and flip a switch and like go do whatever you want to do for a few hours. It's really there's just so little maintenance to it. It's terrific. But we had an above ground pool years ago, and when we finally had to take that down, my husband said, we're not getting another pool. And I said, well, I think we are. And this is what ended up happening. This was about 6 years ago. When they came and put the pool in, the entire backyard was just annihilated. It was dirt. That was all that was back here. And so we kind of started fresh about 6 years ago. And a couple of years ago, we added behind the garage, and now it's just kind of taken over. So, yeah.
Growing, blooming. Absolutely love it.
We do enjoy it.
And I think one thing that's notable is the fact that you can have your cake and eat it too, if you will. It's somebody like it's all about the pool, or it's all about the garden, or it's all about the grass. You have a pristine pool, amazing grass, and a beautiful garden. So either you are home, you know, out here 24 hours a day, or you're organized and doing it right. And clearly, I think it's the second thing. So let's keep walking.
Unfortunately, I'm still working full time.
Yeah, this is just incredible. I want to make note of some of the things that really pop, and this is one of them. So tell us a little bit about what we've got here. Gorgeous. I'm gonna scoot around this way so that we can get the shot of it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, we've got the hibiscus, and they came up on the other side of the moonflower. The moonflower decided it was also going to grow there this year. So, and this, what I love about this plant, it'll bloom like this. And then when the blooms die, it gets a hard, there's none on it yet, but it gets a hard ball on it that's kind of spiky. And it's just, it's really neat to look at. So, yeah, they come back every year, and this one's got lots of blooms on it, or buds on it this year, so it should be pretty spectacular in the next few days.
Gorgeous. We can't control weather, but we can control what we plant and where, and you know, so on. And I'm wondering, what is your ratio of annuals to perennials, and do you really think that through like in a formulaic way, or it's just, oh, I just need some color here, I'm gonna pop a little something there?
Times to get the color in at the beginning, yeah, the annuals will come in, and of course most of my potted stuff are annual, so I would say it's probably about 80-20. But you want to keep getting the perennials so you're not, you know, putting that money out there every year.
Well, that's a good way to look at it. Let's keep walking around, and we're going to wrap up our discussion today, although we could sit back here for an hour and just keep looking at things. But again, you've got the little notable plaques and things in this beautifully organized and very, very clean gardenscape. But I love dragons as well, and I sense that, yeah, we're kindred spirits on that. Can we walk over to the dragon area and tell us what is this about your love of dragons? And you have dedicated an entire section to them this year.
Yeah, that's just it. I've always loved dragons, and I thought, why not? A couple years ago, again, my kids started buying me dragon things for outside, and I thought, I've got to kind of figure out a place to put them. And without being able to do the whole yard that way, I thought, well, I'll do the back behind the garage, and that way, when you're in that part of the yard, you're seeing that section, and you actually have to walk back here to see the dragons. So I do have little ones hidden in the bushes, and some larger ones. I've had my poor little weather vane, but I like them all rusted like that. He's been with me for a long time. So. And then my reading dragon here, that was actually my birthday present. My husband told me, he says, I started to think about it, and I thought, well, if you could have been anything, you probably would have been a dragon reading a book. So,
and there you are.
Yeah.
as we celebrate the 28th annual Garden City Garden Club Garden Walk. We are saying it's all things gardens. Well, in this particular garden at the home of Nicole and Dirk Morris on Hennepin, it is all things butterfly garden and butterflies, literally. Nicole, welcome. Congratulations, first of all, on being in the Garden Walk. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit about your inspiration for a butterfly garden. And certainly it's not just the butterflies, because I'm looking around and seeing gorgeous foliage and greenery and flowers and plants, but there's an important reason why this all started for you. Share your story, please.
All right. So we had a daughter named Kaylani who was stillborn in 2017, and it was very emotional and it was horrific. So we decided that we needed something to do to keep us busy, and we decided to redo our entire garden. And we chose butterflies because they say that angels send you butterflies. And I was taking a really cool grad school course, Psychology of Creativity. I had a project, and I put my creativity into a butterfly garden for our daughter.
And here it is. And now we all get to reap the rewards of your process, your therapy process. People say that gardening really is their therapy.
Yes.
Literally, this is the case.
Yes, this has totally been my therapy.
When you started this project, you were going through some different emotions that you're likely feeling as you cultivate it year after year at this point. But where did you start? What was the first thing that you jumped into to say, this is how I'm going to honor Kaylani, this is what we're going to do?
Well, the first thing we did, it was a rock garden. There was nothing here. It was a rock garden. The porch was orange brick. So first thing we did, a crew of us took out all the rocks and moved them, and then I did a whitewash technique on the porch and painted that. And then we said her birthstone is amethyst, so all the flowers are going to be some shade of purple.
Just wonderful. It's emotional just hearing you talk about this. Oh my goodness gracious. Where we look, we see all sorts of things, but I really do think I see a butterfly every time I turn my head. And I don't necessarily mean a living, fluttering butterfly, but some incarnation of the butterfly.
Yeah.
Why the butterfly specifically?
It was said somewhere that I read that angels send you butterflies. So we thought that if we did butterflies, she could send us kisses, and we would be reminded of her every time we saw a butterfly.
When you mentioned that the first time around, I was thinking, I've never heard that saying before, but now I understand it even better. So I appreciate that. Let's walk forward and take a look as we continue. The process of sort of the evolution of this garden is represented in the poster board here that you have, which is awesome because it's an opportunity for people that want to try something but are a little intimidated or a little bit like, yeah, I don't think I can do this. It's just too stunning, to show kind of before and after, and this can be done. Speak to the process of motivating yourselves to continue to evolve and move it forward, because isn't really that what the butterfly does as well, sort of the evolution process? So tell us about that.
And I've never done a garden before. I'm allergic to flowers, so it has been quite the process. So we started with plants, and not many of the original plants are here. Every year we find new plants that we want to use and plants that are flowering at different times. So every year there's new things. So it continues to grow, and every time we get upset or we think about her, we come back out and put more in.
Beautiful. Let's take a walk and continue to enjoy this lovely, lovely honor. We are absolutely enthralled by the detail you've got here. The rocks, the words, the little people, the angels again, and all the purple, and I absolutely just love it. So stones, things with stones. Do you find that people give you a lot of butterfly things? Is that like your thing now? When somebody wants to buy you a present or something, that's what they'll do?
Absolutely. It's always the butterflies.
Tell us a little bit about maintenance. How much work is it? It probably doesn't feel like work except on those 95-degree, 100% humidity days, but for the most part.
Well, most of them are perennials. Everything in the ground is a perennial, so I only need to choose a couple new perennials a year. The hard work goes into the baskets, and like I said, it's just therapy for me. So I go to Barson's, find the flowers that I want, and bring them back and put them in.
You are giving back to this community through the beauty of this garden, but I understand nature is benefiting from this as well. So a butterfly garden is not just meant to represent butterflies, but also to attract and, in your case, sort of grow butterflies, yes?
Yes, I grow butterflies.
Let's take a look.
Grows food, I grow butterflies.
That's a pretty cool combination. I like it. So we're going up on the porch. Oh, look at all of the detail here. This is incredible. So let's head to the side here and tell us a little bit about what we're going to see.
So in our nursery here, this is usually the monarch nursery, but we've had so many swallowtails that I had to combine. So the swallowtail nursery just has swallowtails and the monarch has both. So inside on the fennel here, we have a lot of swallowtails. We've got one here, but there's probably about 10 to 15 right there. And then over here we have the monarchs on the milkweed. We have one that came out this morning.
Oh, look at that. A monarch butterfly. Oh, my goodness.
This one came out this morning. So she is ready to go, or he almost, looks like not quite yet.
When you say came out this morning, like literally, tell us what you mean by that. Because I think when people think, oh, I just came out today, like to play, well, like literally came out.
Yes, so they have chrysalis in here. We've got quite a few left. So today was the day to come out of the chrysalis. She came out all crumbled up and slowly started trying and opening her wings. So from the eggs that we find on our milkweed to the caterpillars that eat all of our milkweed, they go into their chrysalis and then come out as a butterfly, keeping the monarchs going. They might be endangered, but we don't want them to be extinct.
I just read an article literally 2 days ago about that. How do you know what to do with them, with this little one here? Like, at what point will you say, spread your wings and fly, little one? How does that work?
Once we notice that they're moving around more and flying inside the cage, we know that they're ready. She is not quite ready, but our swallowtails might be ready. We have swallowtails also. So they look more ready. They're flying around in the cage, or in their nursery. We don't want to call them a cage. In the nursery.
Okay, let's go take a look at the swallowtails, you said? Okay.
These ones are black swallowtails. We have eastern and black.
Okay. This is quite an education we're getting at the garden walk. Oh, my goodness. This is fantastic. Oh, look at this.
So we have a bunch in their chrysalis. These chrysalis look different. They look more like wood with the swallowtails.
So they're going to let you know when they're ready for the most part, yes? Oh, look at those colors. Wow.
So this is our swallowtail, one of our swallowtails. Still not quite ready. They all came out this morning, so their wings might still be a little bit wet. But they let you know when they're ready to go.
About how long does that process take from when they come out of their chrysalis to actually flying off to start their new lives?
Probably about 6 to 8 hours. Oh. Yep, so same day they'll be ready to go, and you can't keep them too long because they need their nectar. So they'll head off to the garden and find their favorite plants that we have everywhere and then lay some eggs.
And do you actually see them long term? I mean, will you like, oh, I remember you. You were on my finger 3 days ago. How long do they stick around?
Okay, we just had a monarch come back yesterday and lay eggs. So we've got new eggs in the garden. So they come back and their spots are, a lot the same, but also kind of different. And I feel like if they're willing to come up to me, which the one yesterday was, then they must remember us.
There's no doubt. When you tie all this together, when we bring this whole concept of gardening, butterflies, butterfly garden, literally, cultivating these, and we bring back to sort of the meaning or the purpose of why this whole thing started, years later, did you ever think that something beautiful and lovely for other people to experience would have come out of such an awful, awful experience?
Never would have imagined that we've come to this point and inspire other people. And that's our goal, is just to heal ourselves and our family and inspire others to be able to heal themselves and know that you can continue on and still, talk about your children all the time.
Well, Nicole, you're doing an amazing job. Congratulations to you and Dirk. We thank you for what you're doing and keeping Kehlani's memory alive and allowing others to experience the joy that you do with this beautiful, beautiful garden. Congratulations.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you, Dirk.
We are celebrating the Garden City Garden Club Garden Walk, which is being co-hosted by the Garden City Historical Museum. And, well, we've taken it to the golf course on this beautiful day. Actually, not really. We're at the home of Paula Relic and John Shelton on Elvin Street here in Garden City. And what might look like a putting green that I'm standing on is actually a part of a stunning backyard with some really innovative gardening going on. So let's bring the experts in who happen to just be enjoying they just put down their good books about gardening and golf, and well, we're gonna bring all that together. So John and Paula, come on over and let's talk a little bit about what is going on here on Elvin Street. This is just stunning. I see you don't have your golf shoes on at this time, but tell us a little bit about the inspiration for this beautiful garden.
Well, I moved in here in 2012 and brought a lot of flowers from my other home and started the garden. And John moved in 2015, and together we've been working on it ever since. And his passion is mine is gardening, and his is golf. So we kind of combine them both.
The big G's, I like it. So I won't ask you what your handicap is because we don't want to get technical. But what I am going to ask is this beautiful, beautiful grass that I'm standing on. It literally does look like we're on a putting green or a chipping green, and it looks like it's fake. It looks like artificial grass. It is not. This is called bent grass, as I understand it. How did this happen?
Well, we decided her flowers are so gorgeous, so I felt that we needed a nice appearance when you're walking up to them and not a nice way to walk. And this colonial bent grass is very hardy in this area. A lot of maintenance, but very makes you happy when you look at it.
Makes him very happy. And I sit in my chair and just make believe that I live on the golf course.
You kind of do, Paula, to be honest with you. So when you started the transition over to this look, how was there, give us some tips, give us a pointer or two about how one can ultimately achieve this result.
We dethatched the whole yard. We tried to minimize all the weeds that we could at that time. Purchased the bent grass and just kept the effort going and trying to understand how it survives the best without some of the problems that we face with some of the insecticides and the formula. So it's been a lot of on your hands and knees kind of work.
Yes, he's on his hands and knees. He does a lot of little extra things around here. So he's very busy with his grass.
Yeah. Do you have time to pick up the club once in a while, though? And have you had a hole-in-one, I guess, is the big question.
Not yet. The ultimate goal, right, of a golfer. So, no, this just makes it where it's nice when you're out on the course that you can focus a little bit easier and say, hey, I'm at home. This is not a hard shot.
Good for you. That's a great philosophy. This is just most unusual, but quite lovely. Let's flip over to the gardening side a little bit more, and if you'll walk with me a little, we'll talk a little bit about some of what you've got going on. It looks like we have, there's so much color. It looks like we've got a good amount of perennials, though, that are going to continue to bloom year after year, and then you've got the planters as well. So you have a philosophy for this, what you're doing here, Paula?
This is the best time for daylilies, and I love daylilies, and I've gotten a lot from different garden club members. So I have some from Della Hayden back there that Della was like an original garden club member of Garden City. And so whenever I look at those, they make me happy. And a lot of people share. So when I see those flowers blooming, I always think of them. It just makes me really happy.
As it should. That's the point of this, the point of being outside. We're in Garden City, for crying out loud, right? As I always say, we need to embrace the garden of Garden City as much as we can. And the daylilies are beautiful. I love the color, the varieties of colors. And we're also seeing some shrubs, or we'll call it a bush, a tree, to sort of set off in some of the bigger sections too. So I'm going to scooch around you here so we can take a look.
Pinky Winky hydrangea, and it goes through the year. It starts out white, kind of whitish green, and as the sun and as it goes through the summer, it'll get real pretty pink. It's a light pink and then a darker pink, and then when fall comes, it's like a rusty color, and you can cut them off and make arrangements for the house, and they stay so nice. You don't even have to put them in water, and they're just beautiful. It's like a fall decoration. Nice. So I leave them there all fall and during the winter for interest. And then in the spring, I cut them all off, and they just grow back.
And they grow back. How far down do you cut them? Should you cut them? I guess I'll ask.
When the top part is all dead, I just cut each top part off. And then if I want to bring it up a little bit so I can put things down underneath, I clip some of the bigger branches. So that's up off the ground a little bit.
And is that for the fall into the winter season, or at that point do you cut down significantly?
I cut down in the spring.
You do? Oh, in the
Yep.
spring.
In the spring before they start blooming, I cut them all off, and then they all come out beautiful.
Wow, yeah. It's gorgeous. It looks quite like it fits just right. Sometimes you'll have this kind of a shrubbery tree and it just kind of overtakes, but the way you've got it trimmed or pruned, I suppose is the word, it's nice.
Things underneath, so I trim it up a little bit every year.
Yeah,
so
gorgeous. Well, let's keep walking again. Boy, you were not kidding about the lilies. Gorgeous. And you also have some art in your garden, which is very nice because they don't have those on the golf course. I can tell you, I've never seen this bottle art on a golf course before. Maybe we should because it's pretty cool.
Yes.
But tell us a little bit about some of your artwork.
Bottle tree that I got. A friend of mine got it for me for my birthday one year, and it was just the metal rod. And then every time I had another bottle of wine, I just kind of added to the. And some of those are from like the red ones and the purple ones are from the stores when I see them. Sometimes in the summertime they fade out a little bit. I have to switch them out with some brighter colors. But
So another bottle of wine, of course.
Yes, and I leave it up all winter because it just looks real pretty. You know, when it's snowing and stuff, you have a little bit of color. So.
Nice. Speaking of color, we call the green for golf. And John, by the way, who stepped out of the shot here, is wearing his golf green shirt, which is awesome. But I love the archway and the way you have the garden sort of interwoven really just around the perimeter of the golf component. So tell us a little bit about the shaping decisions for a garden, because some people are like, I don't want to start with too much, but then if I don't do enough, it's not, it needs to be manageable. How much ebb and flow goes on with this?
Originally, there was nothing here when I first moved here. This was just all grass. And Ken from the garden club had a big old rototiller, and he came over one day and just rototilled the whole edge because I said, I just want flowers all around. So he did the whole thing and started it for me. And once I got that done, I just started putting plants in here, there, and everywhere. And every year, John has to dig out a little bit further because the plants are like encroaching. So it's like, I need a little bit bigger bed. So he'll widen it and widen it. So now it's come to this part. This one we just dug out in this last fall in October. We went to Holland for the Tulip Festival and bought all kinds of tulips. So he amended the soil, dug all that up, amended it, and we had beautiful tulips this spring. They were gorgeous. I have a thing up there I have some of the pictures of the tulips. And then once the tulips were done, I just put in some annuals for some color.
Nice. And that's very good advice, I think, for people that are a little intimidated when they see some of the homes, frankly, on this show, on the garden walk.
Somewhere. Yeah. Right. And just keep adding and adding.
Great. And also we have a little sign back here of what's yet to come. Tell us, this is future site of Austin and Gaga's raised veggie garden.
And my grandson calls me Gaga. And John is going to make a raised bed for us to grow our vegetables.
Oh, that's nice.
So yeah, he said, we need a little sign back there because I'm going to make you a raised bed back there so we can grow our tomatoes and our corn, and I'm trying to get him to eat more vegetables. So I thought if we did it together, then our grandson would eat more vegetables and we'd have fun doing it.
Yeah. That's a great idea. And I can so see the Lady Gaga resemblance. It makes perfect sense why he would. I'm teasing, of course, about that. But both the beautiful, beautiful ladies. So let me just ask you here, John. At what point are you going to say, okay, this used to be a 9-hole course. Now we've got two, now we've got a couple of holes. At what point are you going to say, yeah, this should hold, the whole thing we're just going to keep it a garden at this point? Are you getting there, do you think, or no? Because I'm loving both things.
And we enjoy summer so much, and being outside and utilizing all the outdoor space is really helpful. And we use it all, and we enjoy being out, and so this will continue to be like this. Once we get our raised beds and stuff, it's going to be quite wonderful. We're looking forward to that.
Great. I have one more question to circle back, so I'm glad you came back in. In terms of the maintenance of cutting, trimming this bent grass, how often do you have to do it?
I probably go a little overboard. Sometimes when we're in a good growing season, I'll do it every day. I cut every day. And then I'll do it's been dry this year, you know, so I've been doing it every couple days. But yeah, it's rewarding, right? When you have a passion about something, it's not work, right? So that's what we have now, and it's quite wonderful how much we enjoy our yard.
Well, it's very obvious you've put so much love into it. To the both of you, see, you can have it both ways or any way you want it, right? If you do it together with teamwork, because I'm sure this isn't an easy project, but also having the vision is really where it starts, isn't it?
It is, definitely, and supporting her decisions, and we do, you know, have a real healthy discussion about how do we want to go about some things. You know, she wins mostly, but and I just do, but when I intervene, like with the raised garden, she's like totally on board. So it's a lot of fun.
Nice, yeah. Communication is key. We seem to have an interesting communication theme here in the Garden Walk this year, but I love it. Congratulations to both of you. This is just phenomenal. It's inspiring, and we're just so happy that we were able to share it with our viewers. And thank you for allowing us to do that.
Thank you, Susie.
Thank you.
Thank you. All the best. More on the way. This is the wonderful 28th annual Garden City Garden Club Garden Walk, and we're going to talk more about the Garden Club itself, as well as continue to enjoy these beautiful, beautiful gardens in Garden City. What a garden walk, what a show, and what an opportunity to showcase some of the best of the best. I am personally inspired by so much of what I was able to experience today, and I hope you were too. That's really what it's all about. That's really what the Garden City Garden Club is all about, by the way. If you'd like to learn more, attend monthly meetings, have some of the social sessions that they offer, swaps of plants and things like that, there really is so much to be had with the Garden City Garden Club. So check it out on their website. It's gcgc.weebly.com. gcgc.weebly.com. It's a fun name, and it's really just as simple as that. This is meant to be fun, and what a season we had this time around. We congratulate our many Garden Club Garden Walk winners, and we say maybe think about some inspiration for next year. Perhaps we'll see you on this very show and in this walk. It really is an institution and an inspiration for the summer season here in Garden City. Susie Racklyeft saying thank you to all of our supporters and all of our Garden City Garden Club Walk members. Thank you to the Garden Club members themselves, and we wish you happy gardening, Garden City.